At number 10, Harrison Ford. We all know Harrison Ford as the incredible actor who played Indiana Jones and Han Solo. Harrison Ford rose to fame through portraying those iconic characters and many others, but apparently all the fame he's received is something that Harrison himself isn't a fan of. Turns out the actor hates being famous. In a 2010 interview, Harrison spoke out about his rocky relationship with fame, saying how greatly it has affected his life and in such a negative way. The actor has said that his celebrity status has cost him privacy in his life, saying, quote, "There's nothing good about being famous. You always think if I'm successful then I'll have opportunities. You never figured the cost of fame will be a total loss of privacy. That's incalculable." End quote. The actor also talked about how unrealistic the expectations of fame are, saying, quote, "What a burden that is for everybody. It was unanticipated and I never enjoyed it. You can get the table you want in a restaurant, it gets you doctor's appointments, but what's that worth? Nothing." End quote. Harrison ended things by saying that he's only in it for the money, clarifying that acting is his job and that he's not in it for the notoriety. At number 9, Kristen Stewart. Twilight star Kristen Stewart has been acting since she was a kid, but her breakout role came about when the first Twilight film was released. After that, everyone was obsessed with Bella Swan and the actress who played her, but with that obsession and fame came the burden of having such notoriety, and Kristen has spoken out about her struggles with being in the public eye and how negatively it has affected her. In a 2015 interview with Harper's Bazaar, Kristen opened up about her relationship with fame, where she talked about how being famous is, quote, "the worst thing in the world," end quote. In the interview, Kristen commented on how at the beginning of her career she used to feel utter panic when getting harassed by paparazzi because she felt a loss of control and that she had to learn how to adapt to her surroundings over time. She continued to say, quote, "Having that much human energy thrust at you, then being critically analyzed is obviously disarming. Control issues make me so nervous. It's not knowing what's going to happen. So what people were seeing was what happens when you are terrified. My palms sweat, my knees shake, I don't think I can stand in my heels, I'm breathing heavily, I feel nauseous, I'll be so nervous, and then my body creates something to calm me down and I get so tired." The actress also commented on how she thinks fame can be stupid, saying, quote, "Fame is the worst thing in the world, especially if it's pointless. When people say, I want to be famous, why? You don't do anything." End quote. Before we carry on talking about celebrities who don't like being famous, why not leave a like on this video to help support the channel, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe button to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Zach Galifianakis. During a 2014 press conference for the movie Birdman, actor Zach Galifianakis spoke out about his feelings on fame and said that being a celebrity is dumb. This came after the film's cast talked about the notion of being a public figure and having fame, a theme that is consistent throughout the film. When the actor was asked about blurring the lines between performance and reality in the film, Zach began to speak about his own experiences being a celebrity and how he doesn't like it. Zach said, quote, "It's dumb, I'm not interested in it. I like to be an actor and that's it. The blurred lines are, I think, man-made. I think celebrity is a man-made thing. It's not innate in us. We have people telling us we should pay attention to these people for the wrong reasons, their personal lives and that stuff. I'm just being honest. I would rather do my work and go home and watch Lifetime or something." End quote. At number 7 is Britney Spears. May we never forget her bald head circa. Back in 2007, shortly after the whole head shaving incident, she attacked a paparazzo and his SUV. She was in her friend's vehicle at a gas station where she was swarmed by photographers who were trying to take pictures of her inside the car. She reached her breaking point and then went on the attack. What was her weapon of choice? An umbrella, of course. She started swinging her umbrella viciously at the photographer, which ended up leaving a big mark on his back. It was all caught on tape, but then she went for his Ford Explorer and began smashing whatever she could as she repeatedly yelled, "F you." She ended up dropping the umbrella and then sped off in her friend's car. A few months later, she ended up apologizing on her website, and down the road in 2017, the photographer started to auction off the umbrella. Yes, he kept it, and now he is trying to make some cash off of it by starting it off at $50,000. No reports were made that it was sold, and Britney never commented on it. At number 6, Megan Fox. During a 2013 interview with Esquire magazine, Megan Fox spoke out about the way people view celebrities in the media and how it's unfair that celebrities get treated so poorly by the public and are just expected to take it without complaints. Throughout her career, Megan has been sexualized by Hollywood, and people have made comments about her appearance and personality, some of those comments being quite negative, and Megan has said that it's not fair that she and many other celebrities are just expected to treat this criticism as normal or just part of the job. In the interview, Megan said, quote, "I don't think people understand. They all think we should shut the F up and stop complaining because you live in a big house or you drive a Bentley, so your life must be so great. What people don't realize is fame, whatever your worst experience in high school when you were being bullied by those 10 kids in high school, fame is that, but on a global scale, where you're being bullied by millions of people constantly. Not everyone understands that's the deal." End quote. Being exposed to all of that negativity and not being able to get away from it can be very taxing, so I can understand why this would make someone hate their fame. At number 5, Zayn Malik. Known for his iconic part in the former boy band One Direction, Zayn was known to have his fair share of grievances when it came to his fame. After leaving the group in 2015, Zayn went on to tell sources that he came to the realization that he just didn't want to be famous, and that he's lost a lot of people close to him because of his place in Hollywood. Zayn really just didn't like living in the public eye, and so he quit his job over it. Although Zayn decided to begin a solo career, many seem to believe that even that was too much for the singer. After the release of Pillow Talk, Zayn followed up with a number of cancelled appearances and performances, leading people to believe that he is still not up for the spotlight just yet. At number 4, Daniel Radcliffe. We all know Daniel Radcliffe for his iconic role as Harry Potter, but what we have neglected to realize is that he's been in the public eye since he was a child, and that put a lot of pressure on him from a young age. Kicking off his career as the boy wizard in 2001, he made a lot of money as a star of one of the most successful film franchises of all time. Though he became very rich and successful, Radcliffe has also had his share of scrutiny from the public. All the money and fame that he has acquired can't take away from the struggle Daniel had with fame since being a child. Speaking out about those struggles, Daniel has said, quote, "People will boo you even if you're a child." End quote. Daniel isn't on social media because he chooses to keep that kind of negativity out of his life, and these days things seem to be better for the actor, but for a while he wasn't happy with his place in Hollywood and hated the fame that he has.
Alright guys, at number 3 is Lamar Odom. The NBA superstar had a lot of people confused back in 2013 when a video surfaced of him going a little crazy in the streets of LA. Apparently he had an issue with a paparazzo and found his car parked on the side of a street. Lamar didn't care that the street was busy with LA tour buses and residents, and he started to lash out and go through the photographer's car. I guess the pap asked him about his affair on Chloe, and that's when he went berserk. He ended up yelling at the man and took all of his camera equipment out of his car and tossed it into the middle of the street. Like literally in the middle of the road where cars were driving by. It was chaos. It was all of the man's camera equipment, and Lamar took it a step further by going up to it and smashing anything that wasn't already broken. Fans were standing by confused watching the entire thing happen, and at the end of the video a fan asks for a picture with him and he just calmly smiles with her in a selfie. It's like really strange to watch. He was charged with a misdemeanor vandalism charge, but they were dropped after he agreed to pay for everything that he broke.
At number 2, Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig is the latest person to take up the role of James Bond, but apparently the actor wishes he never took up the role. The actor is very vocal about how much he hates playing James Bond, and when promoting the movie Skyfall in 2012, he really let his feelings about the role be known, as he said, quote, "I've been trying to get out of this from the very moment I got into it, but they won't let me go. I've agreed to a couple more." End quote. He has a love-hate relationship with the fame that this film franchise brought him, and he's fed up with the whole thing at this point. Back in 2015, during the release of the next Bond movie Spectre, Daniel got even more heated when talking about his famous role when he said, quote, "At this moment, no, I have a life and I got to get on with it." End quote. He also went on to say that he would, quote, "rather break this glass and slash his wrists than be in another Bond movie." It looks like Daniel just wants to take a step back from all of this for a while after being so immersed in it for so long. And finally, at number 1, Daniel Day-Lewis. If you're familiar with who actor Daniel Day-Lewis is, then you know that this is one incredibly talented guy. Well, unfortunately, Hollywood won't be able to bask in his talent any longer, as he made the decision to quit Hollywood and has retired from acting. This came after he was left feeling underwhelmed after making the movie Phantom Thread. In this film, Daniel played a fashion designer who made couture dresses for people in high society. To prepare for this role, he became an apprentice to the costume designer for the New York City Ballet and even recreated a Balenciaga dress. Needless to say, he prepared heavily for this role. When all was said and done, however, Daniel was left feeling sad and underwhelmed with the film. When he explained his feelings towards his retirement, it almost sounded as though he's lost the enjoyment of acting, as he told sources, quote, "I've been interested in acting since I was 12 years old, and back then, everything other than theater, that box of light, was cast in shadow. When I began, it was a question of salvation. Now I want to explore the world in a different way." End quote. Daniel is now living a more private life away from Hollywood and is happy to give up his fame for a more fulfilling life away from the spotlight and the hype of Hollywood. At number 10, Billie Eilish. In recent years, singer Billie Eilish has had a lot of success come her way. After rising to fame in 2015 with her song Ocean Eyes, Billie has since grown to become an award-winning artist, winning multiple Grammy Awards, AMAs, MTV Europe Music Awards, Brit Awards, MTV Video Music Awards, and an NRJ Music Award. But with all that fame comes a lot of pressure, and because she's gained massive fame at such a young age, Billie has struggled with it, even regretting her fame at times. Back in 2019, Billie did an interview where she talked about her life in the public eye and how her career and fame has affected her life, and she spoke out about how there wasn't much in the world that brought her peace, saying that though her life is fun and exciting, she doesn't have much sense of calm in her life. When asked about her sudden rise to fame, Billie spoke out about how her fame has had such a huge impact on her childhood, where she said, quote, "I don't mean this in a necessarily negative way, but I sort of lost my teenage years because this all started when I was 13. There's no training, there's no let me go to a school that's going to teach me how to be famous." End quote. It was almost like she was thrown into the deep end before learning how to swim, and she spent the majority of her teen years navigating herself through all of that, which must have been tough for someone so young to do. She's grown up in front of the prying eyes of Hollywood, and that would freak anyone out. At number 9, FKA Twigs. Singer FKA Twigs has experienced the highs and lows of fame. She rose to fame through her music, but many people know her for her high-profile relationships that she's been in. The singer was previously in a relationship with actor Shia LaBeouf, and she was in the news recently after she filed a lawsuit against the actor, alleging that he hurt her several times throughout the relationship. But before this high-profile relationship, she was dating Twilight star Robert Pattinson, and this relationship caused her to gain widespread attention. Because Robert has such a huge following, some of the attention from Robert rubbed off on Twigs, and a lot of the attention she received was negative. In an interview in 2015, the singer spoke out about her experience with fame in regards to her relationship, and she said that she was struggling with the public's perception of her. As soon as they went public with their relationship, Twigs found herself under a spotlight that she wasn't ready for, and when speaking on this, she said, quote, "It's really hard, I can't begin to explain how awful it is. It makes you want to just stop everything sometimes. It makes you want to smash your face into the mirror." End quote. Though she was struggling with the public eye, she did say, however, that it was worth it because she loved Robert so much. Before we carry on talking about the celebrities who hate being famous, why not take a quick moment to leave a like on this video to show your support, and while you're at it, maybe subscribe to the channel as well to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has always been pretty open with her fans about her life and her struggles. She's an open book when it comes to many aspects of her everyday life, and that includes her career and the fame that comes with it. During an interview with CBS Sunday Morning back in 2016, Gaga spoke out about how her fame has impacted her life, and though she is grateful for the life it's given her, there are a few negative aspects of fame that she isn't a fan of. During the interview, the singer vocalized how being famous impacts your privacy, where she said, quote, "I'm very acutely aware that once I cross that property line, I'm not free anymore. As soon as I go out into the world, I belong in a way to everyone else. It's legal to follow me. It's legal to stalk me at the beach. I can't call the police or ask them to leave." End quote. On top of her concerns about her privacy, Gaga has also vocalized how her fame has taken away the freedom to just spark up a normal conversation with someone. The singer said that she missed being able to have conversations with people, as she said, quote, "I miss people. I miss, going anywhere and meeting a random person and saying hi and having a conversation about life. I love people." End quote. At number 7, Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson has had a rocky relationship with fame, and it all started after his career was boosted after the success of the Twilight franchise. Robert has said in interviews that his first unpleasant experiences with fame came from fans, saying that some of them were very intense. In one interview, the actor recalled some creepy run-ins that he has had with fans, as he said, quote, "Suddenly, everywhere I went, people thought they already knew me. They look at a photo of me and think they have a special relationship, a friendship, an affair with me, someone they haven't met their whole life." End quote. Coming out of his initial rise to fame, Robert has said that since gaining so much notoriety, he no longer feels like he has any privacy in his life, as he said, quote, "People were like, it's fine, who cares, they're just photos. They'll say, just live your life, but that's not life for me, if someone's observing it." End quote. To have the world watching you at all times feels like a huge burden, so I don't know how these celebrities do it. At number 6, Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner is no stranger to the paparazzi. After the rise of sister Kim Kardashian in the media, a new spotlight began shining on the Kardashian-Jenner family. In 2007, taping of the reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians began, and Kylie was only 10 years old at the time. Having cameras around you 24/7 and growing up with the spotlight on you like that must be incredibly difficult to manage. advantage. Kylie, having grown up so publicly, has since shown her distaste for fame. She's vocalized her anxiety when it comes to the press, saying that she wakes up every morning feeling anxious because she thinks that a bad story is going to come out about her. She's been living with such paranoia for years, and it's really not fair that she was thrown into this lifestyle and just had to learn how to navigate it at such a young age. She became famous just because she was related to someone famous. She never really asked to have the spotlight put on her, but that's just something that she has to deal with on a daily basis. Kylie even hid from the world for months during her first pregnancy because she wanted to experience her pregnancy without the world watching. Seems to me that Kylie just wants to be a normal person.
Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Hugh Grant. Some celebs use their fists to fight off paparazzi, some of them use their car, some of them throw objects, and some of them even spit. But not Hugh Grant. Nope, he kicks them in the nuts. Well, he also throws things. He got arrested back in 2007 for throwing a container of beans at a cameraman. But when it comes to a physical altercation, he goes for the groin. In 2009, video footage surfaced of him walking through New York with a friend. He was being followed by some paparazzi as per usual, and they seemed to be getting along. He was laughing with them at first, but ended up attacking one of them and just kicked him in the crotch for no apparent reason. The guy was so thrown off he didn't even know how to respond. He did respond with, "Ouch, good thing I put my hand there." He also threatened to go find a cop and said that he has other witnesses. But Hugh looks completely unbothered the entire time and just casually walks away.
At number 4, Carrie Henn. Starting a career in Hollywood at a young age doesn't seem like it would be very easy. For a lot of former child stars, they say that they regret getting into the industry when they were so young because it made growing up very difficult for them. Though some stick around in the industry for the long haul, many others quit early on, and this is what happened to actress Carrie Henn. Carrie was cast as Newt in the movie Aliens, but after filming it, she decided that she couldn't handle the pressures of Hollywood anymore. Years after the hit film came out, Carrie did an interview to catch fans up to speed on what she's been doing and why they left Hollywood, where she said that she just didn't want to be away from her family. Carrie eventually got into the field of education and occasionally signs copies of the movie for her students, which is pretty cool. At number 3, Jake Lloyd. Sometimes all it takes is one bad experience to change our perspective on a situation. This is pretty much what happened with actor Jake Lloyd after starring as young Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Jake was only 8 years old when he starred in the film, and you would think that as a kid he would bask in the fame he was receiving. So many kids these days want to be famous, and Jake probably thought the same thing, but when the praise for the film turned to hate towards the actor, that's when he reconsidered his place in Hollywood. The actor said that this experience turned his childhood into a quote, living hell, end quote. Jake recalled how kids would make fun of him at the time and how insanely busy he was back then, having to do up to 60 interviews a day. He eventually decided to retire from acting because he was no longer able to fit in, and it took a big toll on him. Jake's case here is a perfect example of the darker side of being a celebrity and fame that most people don't acknowledge enough. At number 2, Amanda Bynes. Former child actor Amanda Bynes grew up in the spotlight, and between the pressure of having grown up a celebrity combined with her public breakdown, it's no wonder that she decided to leave the industry after her fame became too much to handle. In the past, Amanda has spoken out about the times that she felt anxious about her Hollywood career, but in an interview with Paper Magazine, she opened up about the very moment that she decided to quit acting altogether, and this was after she watched her performance in the movie Easy A. Amanda told the publication, quote, "I literally couldn't stand my performance in that movie. I didn't like my performance. I was absolutely convinced that I needed to stop acting after seeing it. I was high when I saw it, but for some reason it started to really affect me. I don't know if it was a substance-induced psychosis or what, but it affected my brain in a different way than it affects other people. It absolutely changed my perspective of things." Unquote. After making the decision to retire from acting, Amanda took to Twitter to tell the public about her plans to leave Hollywood. Although she says that she hopes to one day return to acting, she's also content with living her simpler life away from Hollywood. There was just too much pressure from Hollywood and having all eyes on her, so she had to leave it all behind to feel better about herself again. And finally, at number 1, Jack Gleeson. After gaining fame from starring as Joffrey Baratheon in Game of Thrones, actor Jack Gleeson decided to take a step back from acting and leave Hollywood. Though he was grateful for the experience of being a part of such a huge show like Game of Thrones, Jack told sources that the large amount of fame that comes with the job just wasn't something that thrilled him. Going in depth about his thoughts on his place in the public eye, he told sources, quote, "It was always a recreation beforehand, but when I started doing Game of Thrones, perhaps the reality was made too real for me. The lifestyle that comes with being an actor in a successful TV show isn't something I gravitate towards." End quote. Jack even made the point to not watch his own performances on TV because of how maniacal his character was, as he he said, quote, "You tend to abstract yourself from the creepiness of it when you're playing it, but when you see it on television, it sends shivers down my spine," end quote. Since leaving the industry, Jack has gone to college and has a goal of helping relief efforts for those in Haiti who are affected by the 2010 earthquake.
Starting off our list at number 10 is Justin Bieber. There's been a few occasions where the pop star has lost his cool on the paparazzi, but one of them almost led to a physical altercation. On Friday, March 8th, back in 2013, he was making his way to his car in London when he started to push the paparazzi around. He was with his bodyguard, and to avoid having his picture taken, he pushed any photographer that was in his way of his car door. That's when the photographer started to say, "That's assault," and told him to F off and go back to America. He even called him an effing little moron. His words, not mine. Justin was in the car when he said it, but he must have heard him because he stormed out of the car and lunged at the photographer, attempting to make some physical contact with him, but he was restrained by his bodyguard. Bieber told the guy, I quote, "I'll effing beat the F out of you." Bieber continues to verbally attack the man while trying to get to him physically, but his team ends up escorting him back into the car. Up next at number 9 is Russell Brand. He's known to be a feisty guy to begin with, so you can only imagine how he would react to someone who's trying to snatch an inappropriate picture of his woman. That's right, back in 2010, the actor was with his wife at the time, Katy Perry, and they were making their way through LAX. He noticed that one of the paparazzi photographers were trying to take pictures up Katy's dress, and that's when he came to her defense and lashed out on the man. He pushed him down and grabbed at his camera, but did not stick around for any altercation. He kinda ran off. However, someone at the airport made a citizen's arrest and he was detained until police arrived. The victim had placed the actor under private person's arrest, and Brand was charged with battery and forced to pay $13,000 bail to free himself. Katy later took it to Twitter and said, I quote, "If you cross the line and try and put a lens up my dress, my fiance will do his job and protect me." So at their number 8 spot is Kanye West. This does not surprise me one bit. It is no secret that the man basically walks around doing whatever he wants to whoever he wants. Hence the whole steal the microphone from Taylor Swift thing. But his actions finally had consequences after he was charged with misdemeanor battery and attempted grand theft for attacking a paparazzo. Apparently that is what they call these people. And he also attempted to steal his camera. Kanye was walking through LAX in 2008 and he was not in the mood to deal with the paparazzi, or one of them in particular. He ended up getting into a physical scruff with the cameraman and was trying to literally steal his camera from him, telling him to let go of it. At one point he even puts him in a headlock, trying to get him to release the camera. Kanye ends up backing off of the man who still had his camera, but the judge sentenced him to serve 2 years probation for the misdemeanor battery conviction. He was also required to attend 24-hour anger management sessions and perform 250 hours of community service and pay restitution to the victim. So he basically lost that entire thing.
At number 7, Gigi Hadid. A lot of people think that being a celebrity would grant you all of these amazing perks, and you would have so many friends because of it, but apparently that's not exactly true, and being a celebrity can actually be a pretty isolating experience. At least that's what supermodel Gigi Hadid has said in regards to fame. During a 2019 interview with Elle magazine, Gigi said that because of her work, she's lost a lot of friends. Speaking on this, Gigi said, quote, "I've lost a lot of friends because I'll get busy for a short period of time and they're not reaching out, but if I don't reach out, then it's like I've changed." She said that because her work is so demanding, a lot of people don't understand how taxing it can really be, and so when she disappears for work for a little while, some people just don't wait for her to return and just move on. To further explain her struggles with keeping her social and work life in check, Gigi said, quote, "There are people who understand that I love them and know that when I get back to town I'm going to call them, but sometimes I can't call every day because I'm in weird places. Because a lot of the time I feel suffocated by my own work ethic and by the expectations I put on myself. It's really nice when you have people who say, it's okay, take time for yourself." End quote. Next up in the number 6 spot is Chris Martin. The Coldplay singer has made headlines on multiple occasions, like the time he allegedly smashed the windshield of a photographer's car, or when he was accused of purposely hitting a paparazzo with his car, like literally running him over. Every incident lands him on this list today, but one personal physical attack was completely random and very uncalled for, and it was all caught on tape. He was leaving the hospital with his wife at the time, Gwyneth Paltrow, who was in the car before he even walked out. One paparazzi congratulated him and asked if everything was okay, but instead of responding, he attacks a different cameraman, pushing him down to the floor, saying, "Have some respect."
Hey Chris, thanks for the video. You give it back to him or this door's getting broken. Give the camera back to him.
He ends up grabbing the camera from him as he's lying down on the road and tries to get in his car with it. The man, along with another cameraman, got to him before getting in the car and told him that they will break his car door if he doesn't give it back. He ends up giving it back, probably in hopes that he doesn't get charged for everything that was just caught on videotape by the other man, who said to him, "Thanks for the video, Chris."
At number 5, Macaulay Culkin. Former child star Macaulay Culkin was brought into the spotlight at a very young age. Very early on in his career, the actor reached his peak after the release of Home Alone in the 90s. After that, Macaulay continued to have a pretty steady career. It wasn't until he reached the age of 16 that he decided to take a step back from fame. After getting emancipated from his family, Macaulay went a little sideways and started getting himself into trouble. After getting into trouble with the law and abusing illegal substances, the actor found himself back in the spotlight again, but this time for his fall from grace. Everyone knew him as the adorable child star from the 90s, and soon his image became tarnished. It wasn't soon after his public downfall that Culkin took a step back from Hollywood once again. Since then, he's decided to lay low and not gather too much attention. He's since referred to his fame as a blessing and a curse, as it got him a lot of success as a child, but he just couldn't handle the fame. Coming into that so early on in your life must really impact the way you grow up, and I couldn't imagine how it would feel to have to deal with the pressures of being a public figure while also trying to come into your own as an individual.
Here we are at number 4 with Gerard Butler. Back in 2008, the actor was being investigated after he allegedly attacked a photographer, aka paparazzi, and left him with a bloody mouth. The cameraman filed a police report accusing him of punching him several times in the face and cutting his lip to a point where he needed stitches. Apparently, the paparazzo was tailing him in his car after the actor left a restaurant in LA, and Hugh got out of his car and punched him in the face 3 to 4 times. He had to go to the hospital to get stitches on his lip. The man also accused him of grabbing him by the throat and kicking his car. He did end up being charged with a misdemeanor criminal battery, like some others on this list. They should just have like a little club at this point.
At number 3, Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway has been so successful in the film industry, starring in all sorts of different films, from The Devil Wears Prada to Les Miserables, but in a 2014 interview, Anne admitted that fame has really affected her for a long time. She opened up about her struggle balancing her life with the widespread fame that she was gaining, where she said, quote, "I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to engage with it. It stressed me out. And people would say, you just have to be yourself. And I was like, but I don't know who that is yet." End quote. The actress also spoke out about the criticisms that she was facing after her Oscars win for her role in Les Mis, which caused her to take a break from Hollywood. Speaking on this, Anne said, quote, "My impression is that people needed a break from me." End quote. Acting is just her job, and fame is just a side effect of what she does for a living, adding to the pressures of her craft.
In spot number 2 is Bjork. You wouldn't really expect the singer to be a firecracker, but people were left in shock after seeing footage of her attacking a reporter at the airport back in 1996. The footage doesn't even look real. Honestly, I can't even believe that it happened this way. You have to watch it. She landed in New Zealand with her young daughter, who was also with her when she made the attack. She looked tired and frustrated by the amount of cameras that were swarming her, but the reporter was standing by her car and simply welcomed her to New Zealand. Like literally, she's just said, "Welcome to New Zealand," and that's when she basically turned into the Hulk. She viciously attacks the woman, pushing her to the floor, punching her, pulling her hair, everything. It was literally complete madness. She ended up apologizing to the reporter later on and also released a public apology statement. However, the reporter ended up not pressing any charges. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Alec Baldwin. He definitely deserves this one. There's too many paparazzi attacks to name when it comes to this actor. We'd probably need a part 2 list dedicated just to him. But his attack in 2013 had people feeling some type of way since he was a new father at the time. That's the thing though, he was super protective of his wife at the time and even more protective of his little girl, which is why he lost it when a pap was trying to take some pictures of the couple and their newborn baby just a day after she was born. Alec ended up attacking him, pinning him to the hood of a car, trying to grab his camera from him, all while punching and kicking him. Photos surfaced which showed the entire attack, and he was charged with misdemeanor battery. This isn't his first charge either. He was also charged after he attacked a pap and smashed his phone on the ground. He has a list of paparazzi battles, all of which he seems to have won. Probably because no one would ever assault the actor since they know that they would lose that case in a heartbeat.